Good evening, I'm John Carter and welcome to Poland Daily. In order to tackle the social exclusion of the near 14 million Poles living in the countryside, the government intends to spend 800 million zloty on local transportation. After the fall of communism, PKS, the public bus service, were largely replaced by private bus companies. But many local bus routes that once connected the countryside with the cities have been cancelled over the years, leaving millions disconnected from urban areas.
According to Prime Minister Morawiecki, restoring local bus services will reverse the former process known as abandoning local Poland. Our program is implemented in order for bus services to return to the transport grid in Poland. There are numerous small towns and villages in our motherland which we do not have connection with the outside world, other than by car. Our goal is to create a public transport system coordinated with the railroad network. I even dream of a single fare ticket. As part of the government program, a special fund will be created and local governments will be able to sign contracts with entrepreneurs providing transport services without a bidding process. We will allocate 800 million zlotys to co-finance the deficit in bus transport, and we will pay up to 1 zloty for each vehicle kilometer. We hope local governments will finance up to 30% of this deficit. Economist Marcin Roszkowski emphasizes that there is money reserved in the state budget for activities aimed at preventing travel exclusion. This project is not big when it comes to the size of the budget. It can even supplement the development of Poland so that areas with transport deficiencies, travel white spots will disappear from Polish roadmaps. Restoring previously cancelled bus routes is one of the elements of the new Law and Justice 5, a plan announced during the February convention by the party's leader Jarosław Kaczyński. In addition to the reactivation of local bus services, other components of this plan were to expand the 500-plus program for the first child, pay an additional 13th pension benefit, and eliminate income tax for people under 26, as well as lowering the lowest tax threshold from 18 to 17%.
The Polish Episcopal Conference today announced its position on the LGBT plus declarations signed by Warsaw Mayor Rafał Trzaskowski in February. According to bishops, the project could interfere with the way parents raise their children and corrupt young minds.
The bishops, along with families and communities standing against the charter, would like to recall that according to the Polish constitution, anyone has the right to demand state institutions to protect their child against demoralization. Article 72, paragraph 1. We therefore appeal for the withdrawal of the ethically and legally uncertain solutions proposed in the so-called LGBT charter.
Poland's most prominent pro-opposition newspaper, Gazeta Wyborcza, published a poll today. It showed that, for the first time in years, the opposition's European coalition has more potential votes in the upcoming European Parliament elections than the ruling Law and Justice Party. Some experts, however, have called into question the validity of the data.
The newspaper described the survey's results as a breakthrough. Since the parliamentary elections in 2015, the ruling Law and Justice Party has remained at the top of popularity polls. The united opposition's advantage, even if minimal, would give some hope of victory in the European Parliament elections. The key is the participation of voters from big cities, because the Liberal opposition enjoys greater popularity there. Opposition leaders hope a victory in May's European elections will give them the momentum needed to win the most important battle, the Polish parliamentary elections in autumn. According to opinion poll analyst Marcin in the survey conducted by the Cantor Millard Brown organisation, the Law and Justice Party and Kukiz 15 movement's numbers were lowered, while the popularity of the Liberal Party's Spring, headed by homosexual politician Robert Biedroń, and extreme leftist party Razem, was exaggerated. Palade also points out that liberal media in Poland often publish manipulated pre-election polls with the hope of influencing voters' decisions.
The Polish ambassador in Minsk has been summoned by the Belarusian Ministry of Foreign Affairs in connection with the Institute of National Remembrance's new position on Romuald Race. Race, also known as Bury, was a soldier of the 3rd Vilnius Home Army Brigade. After the Second World War, he fought against the communists in Podlasie, northern Poland. The Belarusians have accused Bury of genocide, although the Institute of National Remembrance has stated that these allegations are false. Magdalena Balkowiec has more on the dispute.
Historians of the Institute of National Remembrance have determined that executions carried out on Belarusians from several villages near Bielsk-Podlański by Bery's soldiers have nothing to do with genocide. This statement questions the Institute of National Remembrance prosecutor Dariusz Olszewski's earlier findings from 2005.
We believe that the Orthodox faith and Belarusian nationality were not the reason why these people died at the hands of partisans of the 3rd Vilno Brigade of the National Military Union. We believe that they died for reasons that we briefly presented in this text. On the other hand, the death of women and children, which undoubtedly puts a shadow on Bury and his subordinates' activities, was not intended by the commander. Bury's fault lies in the fact that he created a situation which he was unable to control. As a result, regardless of his intentions, innocent people were killed.
Spokesman of the Belarusian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Anatol Huas, stated that Belarusian government is expecting a public statement from the Polish authorities whether this evaluation of Bery's activities is an official opinion. In relation to the Institute of National Remembrance statement, today the Polish ambassador was called to the Belarusian Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
The announcement of the Institute of National Remembrance matches up with the earlier verdict made by the Supreme Court of Poland. The court recognized that Bury's actions were taken in a higher order in the interest of the independent Polish state.
Bury's character arouses a lot of controversy in the town of Hajnówka, where marches of remembrance of the cursed soldiers are organized by the Poleszuk family. First and foremost, I'm glad that this statement made by the Institute of National Remembrance appeared. This should have been made a long time ago. When it comes to the public opinion here in the Podlaski region, the society believes everything that media says, and the media has been using the prosecutor Olszewski's statement. I think that the media won't publish the newest statement, but I'm sure that they will publish some fragments taken out of context. So that will be a problem because the public read newspapers more often than history books. Although the Belarusian side is already concerned about how Bury's rehabilitation will affect the Poland and Belarus dialogue, Polish historians and publicists agree that this relationship must be based on historical truth.
Thank you very much for joining us here this evening at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter. Stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily weather. It's followed by the business, culture, history and the travel.
Welcome to Poland Daily Weather. Let's see the forecast for tonight. In the southeastern Poland, sky will be cloudless. In all regions, we are expected little higher temperatures. A pleasant 4 degrees we will see in Koszalin and Szczecin. In central Poland, temperature will range about 1 and 2 degrees. The coldest place that night will be the northeast with 0. Overcast sky will appear on the west and there we will see rainfall as well. The pressure will drop. Let's see the forecast for tomorrow. In most regions we may expect plenty of sunlight but with little rainfall. Temperature ranging from 6 degrees in the northeast to 10 in Kraków. The wind will be less gusty in the whole country. Let's check the weather for the next days. On Friday, little rainfall will appear across the Poland. Pressure will be still low. The highest temperature will be 9 degrees. On Saturday, rainfall will be a bit heavier. Temperatures will rise to 15 degrees on the southwest. On Sunday, temperatures increase again. Maximum temperature will be 19 degrees around Śląsk. Rainfall will be lower on our country. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
This is Poland Daily Business Edition. Our guest tonight is Piotr Hoffman of HM Investments. Sir, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Construction business is our topic for tonight. Construction business and developers are under stress in Poland because normally you deliver a house in 2-3 years, and the last 3 years we saw rapid growth of labor cost and material cost, so that means they are undercutting the profits. And what to do in such a situation, especially if Poland wants to build hundreds of thousands of apartment blocks on the reasonable price for its citizens?
Yes, as you said, so we have the problem about the prices, about the prices of the land, about the prices of the construction, but still we have the problem about the law, about the situation on the Polish real estate
so
construction.
The legal regulations may be a solution for the problem.
One of them, because of course it must be everything going together without the correct new law implementation and without the new legal answer for the market, all the rest can't be running perfect. So the new implementation, the new law implementation, which we really need, it's how to cover the country, the area of the country with the master plans. It's very, very difficult for us as developers, as investors, the same for the commercial way as on the BGK end, so BGK real estate company way, that we don't have the master plan. Master plan describe what you can build in which area, so it's very easy then, maybe not very easy, but much easier to go for the final document which you need to start the construction as a building permit. The land which is without master plan, you need to apply for the building condition. It's called in Polish administration language, it's warunki zabudowy. It's a very long process. That's why in July this year, 2018, the new act was appealed. So the act called Special Housing Act. This act should help us as investors, I mean the commercial and the apartment plus investors, to run faster with the building permit, because building permit for the investor is some kind of a driving license for all of us. Without this document, we can't go further, we can't go for the construction, we can't apply for the financing to the bank or another financing institution for the finance, for the money, for the investment. So this Special Housing Act, I hope, will change some situation. It's quite modern, so it's just a couple of months running. We, as HM Invest, prepare now one land in Warsaw, which we will apply. We shall apply soon, I mean in 2-3 months, to the architectural department in Warsaw in this new housing, Special Housing Act regulation. So I hope we can say after this how really it runs, because we have to change
so this will streamline the process of getting the starting the construction, because
especially on these areas where we don't have the master plan, or sometimes the master plan is completely old. It's, for example, now we see the area
developed in 1960s or 1970s.
1970s, it was for some factories area. Now it's already apartments areas, residential area. So it has to be changed. And another very important thing, which happens is this year and will start in January 2019, so next year, is an act which changed the perpetual usufruct for the right of the ownership for the all people who owns now the apartment. So it's very important, because in Poland it's maybe some kind of similar in England, because in England there is some special
but it's
perpetual
not the ownership, but like conditional ownership. You now, own it, but you in fact you don't.
Yes, but now it will be changed. So all apartments which are in apartments buildings, now this part of the land which belongs to the apartment, because as you can imagine you have the building built on some plot, so this part of the plot which belongs to the apartment now will be changed for the ownership. Very important, because it change our position of the apartment's owner. They will be now really owners, and as for the future, for the developers, for the project, it's changed as well, because then the ownership, it's much easier to apply for all this administration decision when you have only this perpetual usufruct. Sometimes it was as a master plan described that you must use it for, I don't know, factory or for some historical way, and now it's already changed, because all our cities changed in 25 years.
Because it's living body and everything changed. And Poland that's good. That is very fast developing.
Even in 1970s, 1980s, you had a lot of spaces in Warsaw when was factories inside the city. Now it's changed. It's a residential area, so it's
now
important.
The production is somewhere else.
Outside the cities.
Thank you very much for this brief conversation about the legal problem. It might have been, look to you, quite complicated, but imagine how it looks for the developers.
It's not really easy, but yes, but I hope it's changed now.
Piotr Hoffman, CEO of HM Investment, was our guest, and that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.
Welcome back to Poland Daily Weather. Let's take a look at the forecast for tomorrow. In most regions we may expect plenty of sunlight, but with little rainfall. Temperature ranging from 8 degrees in the north to 12 in the south. The wind will be less gusty in the whole country. Let's take a look at the forecast for our continent. In the Balkans, temperature will little drop to 12 degrees in Sofia. On the South Europe, temperature will rise to 19 in Madrid and 21 in Lisbon. In British Islands, we may expect rainfall. In Scandinavia, temperature will increase to 2 degrees in Oslo and 3 in Stockholm. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
Przemysław Chojecki is an AI entrepreneur with a PhD in mathematics and a member of Forbes 30 Under 30 list in Poland. He did his PhD in Paris at University of Pierre and Marie Curie, then became a research fellow and a lecturer at the University of Oxford. After returning to Poland, he took up research on artificial intelligence and mathematics and founded a technological group, ulam.ai, where he is the CEO. Within the group, he co-founded multiple AI ventures ranging from logistics to the fashion market and using cutting-edge technologies.
Welcome to Poland Daily Culture. I'm Paulina Otterstein, and again, I'm hosting Przemysław Chojecki today. Przemek, hello and welcome.
Hello.
So finishing our conversation about the artificial intelligence, I'm thinking, are we not feared that robots will replace people?
Yeah, we fear that. That's one of the fears. This is the fear that's expressed by some of the most notable people in this kind of domain, like Elon Musk or Stephen Hawking when he was alive. The problem is that we don't really know the outcome, and it's hard to tell because you have pros and cons. You have, well, the worst scenario is that we lose our jobs, and most of the people won't have any job at all because that won't be possible. But on the other hand, we are very good at finding ourselves new occupations, and that was the case throughout the ages. I'm more on the positive side. And moreover, I see all the positive sides with the problems we might solve using artificial intelligence, that is different kind of healthcare problems, for example, curing cancer, curing different kind of diseases that are hard to cure right now. Mm-hmm. So, and there are like many problems like climate change, like poverty, which thanks to artificial intelligence might be easier to solve right now.
And do you think by using artificial intelligence, we will be able to write books as well?
Oh yeah, actually that's already happening. There's already I think it's a kind of competition in Japan where both humans and machines are allowed to apply and submit their work, and the judges have really hard times determining which is artificial and which is done by human.
Can they read books as well, like people?
Oh yeah, sure. They don't have emotions yet.
Yeah, that would be a bit scary, I think.
Yeah.
So, what are your future projects? What are you working on now?
So right now I'm trying to firstly build Ulam into a global brand, Ulam AI. we're basically automating back offices of different corporations, getting rid of this mundane tasks. So from taxes to finances, every corporation has a problem of actually hiring every year new interns or new juniors who are doing very repetitive work. So it's very annoying both for the juniors who are doing not really creative job, and both for the corporations because they have to find new people every year. And trying to help both sides by helping them with having machines who can do that. So that's on the business side. On the book side, I'm writing my fourth book, which is more.
That was my next question.
Yes, but this one is already written in English, and the idea is that I'm posting different essays on Medium. It already has started, and the idea is that the project is called Artificial Words, and I describe basically the current state of technology and where we are going with it from the perspective of building artificial things, artificial intelligence in it, and using very cutting-edge technology. And there are questions starting from really controversial ones that I want to also address, starting from gen editing, because that's something that I would like to understand myself, which is how much. What makes human, like and how much we can change that using technology, from being born to being to the death. It's all very interesting. So I also want to tackle problems like are we able to prolong, to extend our life forever? Like how would that look like? And I'm more on the science side, so I don't want to do any science fiction. It's all like with current methods.
And how do you feel social media is helping you in your work? Because I know that you're active on YouTube as well as on Instagram and Facebook.
So I think it's very important actually, because I'm especially active on LinkedIn and trying on LinkedIn to connect all those sources. I get many invitations to either conferences. I have many meetings thanks to the outreach that I'm getting to those sources. I think it's very important for anyone to explain their job either on YouTube or in a written form, because that's the way others can discover what you're doing. And so it's helping me a lot. It's very important.
What are your vlogs about on YouTube?
It's basically business and technology.
So it's not about yourself?
No, I'm trying to keep my personal side just on my private Facebook, plus a little bit on Instagram. But I have like a very clear division. Especially on LinkedIn, I'm very professional, but on Facebook, I'm not accepting anyone who I do not know personally to friends, so that I can keep it, like posting pictures from my ski holidays or something like that. That's an important thing for me. So YouTube, because it's public, I also tend to treat it totally in terms of business plus technology.
And do you think it will change a lot by the time artificial intelligence will fully be in our lives? Do you think we'll still need social media?
Yeah, definitely, because that's the kind. Well, humans need communicating, so I don't know what kind of social media we will need, but we'll definitely need a platform to communicate between ourselves. So that might be telepathy, that might be something else, but we will definitely have a platform. Because as humans, the most important thing we're looking for is attention, either attention from other people or attention that we're giving to someone. And social media basically enables that, because in the form of likes, in the form of shares. So yes, there will be social media.
And what would you name as the hardest thing in your career and work?
Well, probably completing my PhD so far was the hardest. I did the PhD in very pure mathematics, very abstract, which is called Langland's program. It's the whole very difficult hypothesis. There are like 200 people around the world who are doing that kind of domain at the top universities, and basically we all meet at different places around the world at the conferences. And completing original novel work in this domain was really the most challenging intellectually so far. There are, of course, different challenges in business, but they're more related to relations between people rather than intellectual challenge.
I can't even imagine how hard it must have been. And you worked as well in Oxford. Have you studied there?
No, I was studying in France. So I started here at University of Warsaw. Then I moved for my master to Paris, to École Polytechnique. Then I did my PhD also in Paris, and then at Oxford I was researching and teaching students for half a year.
What was it like?
Oh, perfect. Because you have this fantastic small town, which is very beautiful. It's like in Harry Potter, basically. Basically, J.K. Rowling based Harry Potter on Oxford and Cambridge. So also you have these houses of Slytherin, Gryffindor, in terms of colleges. So everyone has a college that he belongs to, and it gives him kind of a community and a place to hang out and meet new people. It was fantastic. But I couldn't stay there for much longer because it's also like a bubble where you completely cut out from the normal world and you have this academic bubble. It's perfect if you want to continue doing only research, then that's the perfect place. But if you want to go to the real world and find business applications of what you're doing, then you should move out to one of the bigger cities.
And to sum up, because you said that you're driven by a curiosity, but I can imagine it's hard to do all those things. You have a PhD and you have a business career, and you're writing. So what else drives you? Passion or ambition?
Everything. It's okay. I have a lot of ambition. That's true, but it's really curiosity about understanding the world as it is and asking myself how much I can push the knowledge what is known today, and what can I achieve more with that. So curiosity is really the end goal, and that's why I never feel burned out, because there are always new questions, new challenges to answer.
Okay, thank you very much, Przemysław.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Poland Daily History. Today we will speak with Mr. Piotr Jegliński, a member of a prominent Polish patriotic family. From the 1970s, he participated in the anti-communist dissident movement. Having started his own publishing house in Paris, he is responsible for smuggling forbidden literature back to the then communist-occupied Poland. Today, we will ask him about his life and struggle for a free Poland. We learned that you have a very patriotic upbringing, but despite that, you decided to move to France, and I was wondering what prompted the decision.
Co spowodowało, że zacząłem myśleć, że niezbędny jest wyjazd.
What caused me to decide moving was necessary, namely a lack of access to historical literature. It should be mentioned that the year before, my mother, who worked in the Grand Theatre, moved abroad and arranged exhibitions of theatrical costumes in Munich. She made contact with her cousins. My cousin was Paweł Zaręba, vice-director of the Polish section of Radio Free Europe, Jan Nowak-Jeziorański's deputy. My mother, in her theatre baggage, brought half a suitcase of manuscripts from what was broadcast on the air. This was unheard of.
Sekcji Radia Wolna Europa, zastępca Jana Nowaka-Jeziorańskiego. I mama w tych bagażach teatralnych przywiozła pół walizki pisma na antenie.
Try to imagine a Polish broadcast airing on Radio Free Europe. At first I was delighted, but then became terrified by the vision that my mother, had she been caught, would have spent a couple of years in prison.
Mama poszłaby siedzieć, gdyby wpadła, na parę lat więzienia.
When students came to the Catholic University of Lublin from a Catholic university in Lille in France, we established a cordial friendship and they sent us an invitation.
Nawiązaliśmy bardzo serdeczne przyjaźnie.
We decided that two of us would go. Me, because I knew the French language, we had this tradition of relations with France, and my friend Janusz Krupski.
I Janusz Krupski, mój przyjaciel. Staraliśmy się chyba przez 3 kolejne lata
We applied for the next 3 years. Janusz was refused, as was I, until finally I received a passport and left for Paris. The first thing I did as soon as I crossed the border was to call my uncle Paweł Zaremba and let him know I had successfully crossed the border. He said, "Go to Paris and we will come and get you at the appropriate time." Before the trip, I tried to arrange all the necessary visas, hoping that I would be able to reach Munich. From Paris, I went to Munich, where I stayed at my uncle's for over a month, processing information and the microfilms which I had brought with me. Companions, members of the Home Army, friends of the family would bring various types of documents related to political processes and whatever else was happening, and I worked on these materials for over a month. I then returned to Paris. I was very fortunate that, thanks to a friend who joined the congregation of the mission, founded by Vincent de Paul, I had the opportunity to live in their monastery in Paris, and there I immediately got to work.
Z Jerzym Giedroyciem pamiętam tą pierwszą rozmowę, byłem bardzo wzruszony i poruszony. A jeszcze...
Thanks to Paweł Zaremba, I was able to contact Jerzy Giedroyć. I remember that first conversation. I was very moved. Despite leaving, I intended to return to the country. My missions was based around making these contacts and then returning to the country. While still in Munich, I went with my uncle to see Jan Nowak-Jeziorański. I was particularly moved. This was the first great character I met abroad.
To była pierwsza postać taka znakomita, którą poznałem na Zachodzie.
Even though Mr. Jegliński had a strong longing for Poland, he would soon encounter hardships barring his return. But the lack of physical presence did not stop his operations to benefit his home country all the way from Paris. You told me that you initially wanted to move back to Poland. So what prompted you to stay in Paris, and how does it affect the activities that took place when you stayed in Paris?
Więc w Paryżu rzuciłem się, że tak powiem, w wir działań.
In Paris, I threw myself into a whirl of activities, so to speak. I made contact with Jerzy Giedroyć, then I traveled to London, where I met Andrzej Stypułkowski, son of the great historical emigre activist Zbigniew Stypułkowski, one of those sentenced in the Moscow trials. I got books from him, as well as Jerzy Giedroyć. At first, I was convinced I would create a channel by which to transfer books. This turned not to be that simple. People in those times were petrified. Talking someone into taking a book from you was very difficult. Throughout this entire time, I had kept contact with my country. I spoke to friends on the phone. The conversations would be funny, in code. I had a piece of paper which said what certain words really meant. Other than books, I thought it was important to also send some type of printing equipment, because the books were coming in slowly, so it might be quicker to send this equipment to print some of it off. I wrote to my friends, pleading for them to find someone, because I was having difficulties to figure out how to transfer a photocopier machine. I bought this photocopier in Paris and wondered how to deliver it. It wasn't easy until finally I received a letter from a friend that somebody would be coming to London.
Zabawna, bo ja miałem kartkę, gdzie były tam...
Mądźik's theatre group from the Catholic University of Lublin came to London and I travelled there, not knowing who was supposed to pick it up. Finally, I found him. It was Wójtowicz, who later joined the resistance movement. A group formed around the books which I sent. At first, it was Janusz Krupski and Bogdan Brusewicz. Then others joined later. At a certain point, when a lot of the books appeared in Lublin, security services began investigating. Unfortunately, the trail led to me.
Powoduje większe represje.
When I sent the first photocopier in 1976, which various leaflets and the first communications from the Workers' Defense Committee were printed on, I decided it wasn't enough, that there should be an underground outbuilding. This is where opinions differed, because some friends were of the opinion that giving these activities a name would cause greater repression. I decided that I had to lead by example to encourage further development of these activities. I had a Polish People's Republic passport and decided to travel to Dresden. I arrived in Dresden smuggling a photocopier and 2 suitcases of books, officially traveling via transit. In this place, in the gallery in Zwinga, we met for 4 days and worked out a plan to increase the amount of publishing activity. This is how the idea was born for the creation of a magazine published by us, dissidents, as well as the first publishing house by the name of the Uncensored Publishing House.
Pierwszej oficyny wydawniczej o nazwie Nieocenzurowana Oficyna Wydawnicza, która się potem przerodziła w nową. Po powrocie z wyprawy...
Returning to Paris after the Dresden trip, I was thinking it would be good to copy some things. In the meantime, the first issues of the quarterly Spotkania, Niezależne Pismo Młodych Katolików, or Meetings, independent writings by young Catholics, reached me. It was printed with the use of a spirit duplicator and it was almost unreadable. I decided to rewrite it and republish it. These were the beginnings of the publishing house. During this time, Professor Rylska, professor at the Catholic University of Lublin, and Cardinal Wojtyła's assistant visited. She brought me a manuscript, the works of Father Bukowiński, Memories from Kazakhstan. I published it.
Przy czym ona zaznaczyła, że to jest prośba kardynała.
She said it was the cardinal's request that I publish it, or, if I couldn't, then to send it somewhere to be published. Publishing this book, I didn't realize it was the beginning of the publishing activity, edition Spotkania. Why edition? So the French would know Spotkania is a publishing house.
Edycją, żeby po prostu Francuzi wiedzieli, że Spotkania to jest wydawnictwo.
Mr. Jegliński's family, his personal history, and his activities is a perfect reflection of the generation-long struggle for Polish independence. At times, the resistance against foreign powers were fought with weapons in hand. But in other times, it was conducted with the smuggling of printing press and forbidden literature. That's it for today. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. I'll see you next time on Poland Daily History.
Hello and welcome to Poland Daily. We're really glad that you've joined us because without you, there'd be no point in doing this. In this next series of episodes, we're going to be looking around the Warsaw New Town. It's still very old, don't worry. We'll start off at the Hotel Le Regina. After that, we're going to take a walk and see the oldest church in Warsaw, and one of the oldest in the country. We'll get you up to date on the history of the place and talk about a very famous person who once lived right around the corner. That is Madame Curie, the famous scientist. From there, we'll continue back to the Old Town, stopping off at the Barbican. That's the old wall that surrounds the whole area. It's pretty amazing. So if anybody needs any advice on how to build a wall, they might start here. After that, we'll go to a restaurant in the Old Town for some traditional Polish food. And to top things off, the cherry on the cake will be a trip to the largest souvenir shop in Warsaw. Well, you won't want to miss that. So stay with us for adventures in the new town of Warsaw. It's Poland Daily Travel, probably the greatest travel information about Poland in the world. Hey guys.
How are you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Arthur.
Will.
Nick.
Nice to see you again, Will.
You waited. What a pleasure.
Waited.
What a pleasure. Okay, we're going to have some fun, I hope. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think so, don't you? Yeah. Very good. Hello, folks. This is Poland Daily Travel in Warsaw's New Town. That's right, Warsaw's New Town, which to me is an old town. But that's only because in America, nothing is older than 200 years, except the fort in St. Augustine, I think. At any rate, the introduction to another wonderful segment. Today we're going to be going around the new town in Warsaw and looking at the sights. But before we go out, I want to introduce you to my guests, the brilliant Nicholas Richardson an advocate, a member of the esteemed British-Polish Chamber of Commerce, a newsreader at our channel, and a man about town, resplendent in red waistcoat and red socks, as usual. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Will. Delighted to be here.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And next to him, you may be surprised, it's Artur Górniewski, probably the best guide in the world, who knows everything about Warsaw. Anything you want to know about Warsaw, Artur is your man, and I mean that sincerely. He's a guide of enormous experience, and we're always glad to have Artur back with us. Artur, welcome. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good Lord, I'm going to start calling you guys the Thai guys.
Yeah, well, we're in the presidential suite. We ought to be civilized.
I know, but it's so cold out today. Listen, folks, we had great weather. It was getting warmer, 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 and then suddenly it froze last night. Froze, like in Alaska or something like that. Terrible stuff, terrible stuff. But anyway, that's why I'm wearing this even inside, because I'm fighting off a cold, and there's too much exciting Poland Daily travel work to do with my friends, Nick and Artur, and I don't want to miss that. So, but I have a tie it's kind of a tie. You call it a tie? No, they're just looking at me. Nicholas going, no, dear boy, not a tie at all.
No, more like a scarf.
More like a scarf.
Cravat, perhaps.
Can I get almost a cravat with that?
Almost a cravat with it, yeah.
With that?
Yeah, more like
cravat with that?
Cravat with that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Very good. Why is it called the New Town when it's an old town?
So in a moment when in the city of Warsaw there was no more space for new settlement, and there were people who wanted to come to this place, to this city, to construct their house in here, and there was not enough space behind the city walls, then people started to settle in here, and they were saying that they are living still in Warsaw. Mm-hmm. So the real Warsawians behind the city walls were saying, hey, it's not Warsaw at all, they are in another city. So this is when two cities were one next to each other, the old Warsaw, so nowadays the old town, and the new Warsaw.
Now wait a second, when was this happening? Because that wasn't, I mean, a long time ago, like 1950s, right?
Well, in 1950s this place was reconstructed, so you just miscalculated like 550 years, and that's
550 years? That's
exactly.
Not too much.
No, not
that was only off by half a millennium.
No, not at all.
Half a millennium?
Well, a little bit more than this. So the old Warsaw and the new Warsaw, they were combined into one city in late 1700s. So by the way, in the moment when Praga district also became a part of Warsaw, so these are our last king's times, King Poniatowski, who united all the districts, and also Juridaika's 28 Jewish cities outside Warsaw with their own law. That's why Juridaika, out of Latin word, your own law, by the way, jury. And this is when this all
He's the lawyer,
area...
not me. If he says it's okay.
Yeah, and that's why I
You turned to him.
I am so
and
happy
he
that
nodded.
we can...
He said, yes, well done. Very good.
Yeah, this is what you usually
He nodded
do.
like a judge. That's hey, stop stealing my moves. That's my job. Yeah.
In many cities that we visit in our lives, in our journeys, there are all old towns and new towns. It's a consequence of new settlement in one area, and that was just separated with thick, big city fortifications called city walls.
Yeah, which we saw in previous episodes. But the point is, both the old town and the new town are extremely old. You said 500 years or so. One of them, where we are, the new town where we are, was outside the city walls, and the old town was surrounded by a wall. But both of them were actually destroyed in the war. So, actually, the old town and the new town are both, they should be called the old new town and the extremely new town. No?
Well, well.
You're going to disagree with me.
No, it's like it's something that a tour guide hears every day.
Okay, go ahead.
So I say, hey,
go ahead.
it's the old town.
Yeah.
And then my guests are asking about the dates of particular building. I tell them first it was constructed in 14th century, then in the late 1700s everything in here was made out of bricks, and then it was destroyed during World War II and reconstructed. So hey, wait a second, so it's new then. So it's new old town or old new town, which is a part of the history of this place. Well, being a tour guide in Warsaw is something special because first you must learn when something was constructed and who did this, then when it was destroyed and by whom, then when it was reconstructed and who worked on this, and of course all the dates must be connected with one place, and there are many places, including this beautiful hotel, La Regina.
Regina.
There are
not Regina. Nicholas told me it was Regina.
Well, this is how.
I don't recall. We discussed.
You did. I asked you before, and you said, "Oh, it's Regina." I said, "No, it's not." You said, "But you insisted." You confused me.
I think that people from all around the world should visit this place, regardless if it's hotel or not, because it has amazing history as a building, as a palace belonging to Polish aristocracy. After World War II, there was U.S. embassy in here. And now it's a beautiful hotel, boutique hotel, very comfortable place.
That's why I feel so at home in the presidential suite, because it once was a property of the United States of America.
Yes.
Cue the music, please. This is Poland Daily Travel, and I'm with Artur Górniewski, the most extraordinary, exciting guide that I've met in the last 5 minutes, and Nicholas Bespoke Richardson, extraordinary newsreader, man about town, and many, many other fascinating things. Hey, come with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are spending a few episodes in the new town, and it's a beautiful day. When we go outside, eventually, you're going to see how wonderful it is. So my thanks to these two guys. My thanks to the La Regina Hotel. Yeah, don't try that with me again, mister.